Good evening, dear friends and co-worker. This is Efrat. For the last few days, I've been thinking about what to bring tonight, what to share with you. And actually, like last week, we are caught in deep tension between the desire and demand of the majority of the people to bring the hostages home and end the war. And from the other side, the prime minister pushing the opportunity to escalate the situation. The chief commander of the army himself now openly warns of the danger of war, and it doesn't matter. The prime minister threatens and escalates. The photos and news from Gaza are heartbreaking. Tomorrow, once again, countless citizens will fill the street in protest because this cannot go on anymore. Doctors and journalists are being killed because of a political war. And what about the hostages? With this headline, the New Israel Fund issued another call to end the war. Perhaps in this, there is a small ray of hope. Thank you for support, presence, and partnership. Thank you.
Hi, this is Helen. Daniela, I'll be grateful if you put thank you. The maps that we saw last week. I feel a huge responsibility to talk about the area and about the entity called Israel that has been implanted in Muslim West Asia after World War I. On the one hand, it allowed a refuge, the establishment of a home for the unwanted Jewish people from Europe. And on the other hand, it created a huge problem for the Arab population who lost their own refuge in their own land. A combination of cold interests of empires through manipulation of human lives as an arena of power and control. I will try as much as I am capable of today to convey the complexity of the relationships between Israel and the surrounding Arab countries between 1948 and 1967, which you can take a look at the last two maps. One which is 1949, when the independence of Israel. So we have the blue area, which is Israel, and all the rest is around. And the other one is 1967. So in 1948, the Arab countries refused to admit the existence of Israel in the area after the declaration of its independence that had been voted in the United Nations. And this led to many attacks on Israel from the Arab surrounding countries and many retaliations from Israel. We will move a few years ahead. In 1956, Gamal Abdel Nasser from Egypt nationalized the Suez Canal in his move to liberate Egypt from foreign influence. And this resulted into the Second Arab-Israeli War, or the Sinai War, that had major and lasting consequences for the Middle East, marking the end of British and French colonialism or colonial influence. It marked the empowerment of Arab nationalism and the legitimation of the United States and the Soviet Union involvement. So the Suez Crisis of 1956 fundamentally altered Middle East power dynamics. By the way, on the side, talking about refugees, in the 1956 war, the 1956 war led to the reprisal and expulsion of 95% of the Jews from Arab countries like Egypt, Syria, Lebanon, and Iraq. It was a real massive expulsion. And to maintain peace and stabilize the region, there was a large-scale deployment of United Nations emergency force along the Egyptian-Israeli border. So the United Nations were protecting the border between Israel and Egypt. And this set a precedent for future United Nations peacekeeping missions in the region. And in spite of their presence, provocations continued. And in 1967, Egypt kicked out the United Nations forces. They closed maritime access to Israel from the south, the Tiran Straits, and all this led to the 1967 Six Days War, where Israel, a short war, where Israel conquered the Sinai Peninsula and Gaza from Egypt, the Golan Heights from Syria, and the West Bank from Jordan, creating, of course, a new wave of Palestinian refugees. And here you can look at the map, the third map, where all the blue area is the light blue is Israel, and the darker blue is all those areas that have been occupied by Israel: the West Bank, the Golan Heights, Gaza, and the Sinai Peninsula. Yeah, so this, from there, the face of the Middle East changes. The military defeat of Arab countries, their growing grief towards Israel, the Israeli civilian and military rule of Palestinians, the growing refugee crisis, and the rise of the Palestinian entity, and the creation later of Hamas, further wars like in 1973. All this leads to where we are today. I apologize if this looks like politics, but I need to share some historical developments to have a continuous picture of the evolvement of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict and it's rippling in the world today. So please bear with me. Next week, we will bring the consequences of the 1967 war that shifted the balance of forces and changed the face of the Middle East and the world. Thank you.
Yeah, hello everyone, and thank you very much to Efrat and to Helen, throwing light both on what happens at the moment in Israel at least, and yeah, this history of what used to be Palestine. Yeah, so let us hold this whole complexity in our heart and in our mind as we do this work, our meditative work, transmutation work, helping this dire situation in this area to transform eventually. So let us settle into our body, to our silence, our full presence. Sense our heart beating, pulsing. Dedicated to peace. Collect our mental forces in the center of the head, embracing a planetary perspective. Standing as the soul in incarnation, in the will to peace. And let us now visualize ourselves coming together on a mountain top in a sphere of pure light, linking with each other, visualizing lighted threads link us heart to heart, mind to mind, soul to soul. And we realize that we are energetically connected with all soul-guided servers as part of the Ajna center of the planet. In this function, we stand calm at the midway point between the manifest world and the higher realms. From this mountaintop, let us get an overview, observing humanity for a moment. And gradually focusing in on the Middle East region, West Asia. Getting a sense of these different nations and ethnic and religious groups. And this intense interplay between them. On all the levels, the level of thought forms, ideologies, the level of the emotions, and on the physical plane. Let's take a moment to observe this, to view this phenomenon in the Middle East and its effect on the etheric body of humanity as a whole. Just witnessing. And gently now opening ourselves to our ashramic co-workers, sensing their protective presence with us. And within it, let us open our consciousness into their much wider perspective, into their understanding of what is the underlying dynamic here, and what is the higher plan for this region. The higher plan for this region. Realizing that it exists, even if we cannot yet grasp it mentally. Let us sense it intuitively and instinctually as a vibration. There's much still to be worked out on the way of this vibration into manifest reality. And outer destruction is still part of it. But we know that the day will come when there will be soul consciousness, when these unhelpful forms, mental, emotional, physical, will be just disintegrating from within through the soul consciousness of the people there. Liberation from within. Let's take a moment to hold this possibility in our group field. And bringing this possibility into energetic relationship with what is happening now, with the present condition on the ground. Let these two vibrations meet, interact, see a process happening. See and sense a shaft of pure golden white light, broad and brilliant, flood West Asia. See a huge column of light pouring through all planes. Hold this column steady in the will to peace. See soul light flooding the mental sphere of the Middle East. See soul light pouring into the astral plane of the Middle East. See soul light pouring into the etheric physical plane of the Middle East, penetrating into the earth, pouring into the old imprisoning patterns. Ancient patterns that are slowly giving way. And we invoke the aid of the Lords of Liberation for this task. And evoke the soul light in humanity. Let the Lords of Liberation issue forth. Let them bring succor to humanity. Let the rider from the secret place come forth, and coming save. Come forth, Almighty One. Let the souls of men awaken to the light, and may they stand with massed intent. Let the fiat of the Lord go forth, the end of woe has come. Come forth, Almighty One. The hour of service of the saving force has now arrived. Let it be spread abroad, Almighty One. Let light and love and power and death fulfill the purpose of the coming one. The will to save is here. the love to carry forth the work is widely spread abroad. The active aid of all who know the truth is also here. Come forth, Almighty One, and blend these three. Construct a great defending wall. The rule of evil now must end. See the saving force spreading to the entire Middle East, into each nation and each ethnic and religious group. For all our relations, for the highest good of all. We anchor the saving force in the Middle East and see it spreading throughout the world through the sound of the great invocation in Hebrew and in Arabic.
מנקודת האור אשר בדעת אל, יזרום האור אל דעת האדם. ירד האור על פני האדמה. מנקודת האהבה אשר בלב האל, תזרום האהבה אל לבבות אנוש. ישוב מורה עולם על פני האדמה. מהמרכז שבו נודע רצון האל, תנחה תכלית את רצונות אדם. תכלית אותה מורי האנושות יודעים ומשרתים. מהמרכז, אשר נקרא המין האנושי, תוגשם תוכנית האהבה והאור, ויחתם הפתח אל הרע. יהי רצון, ויחדשו אור אהבה ועוצמה, את התוכנית על פני האדמה. אמן.
من نقطة النور في العقل الإلهي يشع النور في عقول الناس وليهبط النور إلى الأرض. من نقطة الحب في القلب الإلهي ليتسرب الحب لقلوب الناس وليرجع معلم الكون إلى الأرض. من المركز الذي تعرف منها إرادة الله لتقود الغاية إرادة الناس البسيطة، تلك الغاية التي يدركها المعلمون ويخدمونها. من المركز الذي ندعون بالجنس البشري لينتج تسمين الحب والنور ويختم على الباب الذي يقيم به الشر، ليجدد النور والحب والقوة، التسمين على الأرض. الله أمين.